Hey. Johnny Chugs is here, or as he's better known, TJ Denzer, fan favorite. We're so happy to have him. He's got the scoop on Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and he tells us how great the circle is. That's at the top of the show. Afterward, we dive into some handheld trivia, because we got handhelds on the brain. Sony's talking about making another one. Can you believe it? I can't. Yeah, I can. Then it's on to story time. We've got previews. Path of Exile 2. Highly anticipated, looking very good. 2 Point Museum. And Sniper Elite Resistance. Then it's on to some juicy reviews. Fitness Boxing 3. Fantasian Neo Dimension. Monument Valley 3. My Sims Cozy Bundle. And the long-awaited Pokemon TCG Pocket review. Some big news. The aforementioned PlayStation handheld. We've got the scoop there. Or rather, the lack of one. Then, oh my, Ubisoft cancels XDefiant. Much to my chagrin. Baldur's Gate 3 is going to add a lot more content next year. Balatro's selling a buttload, as is Cyberpunk 2077. And we've got some news from the industry. Shuhei Yoshida is finally leaving Sony after several decades. He'll be missed. While Elon tries to establish his foothold in the industry via an AI game studio. Wow. Well, that's today's show. We're going to talk about all this and more. So thanks for tuning in. Let's kick it off. Here we go.
Congratulations, Joe. You finally did it.
Now, there's definitely coincidental timing on the closure of XDefiant and my discovery of it, but I'm curious to hear how you're connecting these dots.
Look, imagine yourself at Ubisoft headquarters, and you have a game that's on the verge of death, and then these 5 people start playing it, and you're like, oh my God, this is the turnaround we've been waiting for.
Okay.
You quintupled their player base. And then when they were about to ramp up server capacity for U5, you just leave for COD.
Ooh, okay. I have a story update for you. We played, I think, 2 weeks of COD, which is a 7-day span, once a week.
Well, congratulations. Now COD's going to die.
Well, yeah, hang on. So from Ubisoft's perspective, there was a 14-day gap between play sessions for my group.
You call it a gap,
what happened.
In XDefiant terms, that's a canyon.
But here's the important stat. If they are really paying attention, we know that they are, obviously.
Clearly.
We came back.
When?
We came back.
Wow.
Instead of that third Zombies week, we went back to XDefiant. It's more fun.
What you didn't realize was those 2 weeks that they ramped up server capacity for you guys ended up bankrupting the whole team.
Well,
that's what you didn't realize, you guys. That's how important players are to live service games.
I maintain that this announcement, which came yesterday, and comically, the announcement said starting on December 3rd, and they publicly announced it on the 4th. So I don't know if there was like inner turmoil there, but that message came significantly after our return to Ubisoft. So they had every opportunity to cancel their cancellation because we were back. I take no blame.
If you think about it, though, like 2 weeks, that's like almost half of a season nowadays.
Yeah. Think how long that is in Marvel Snap season terms.
Right. Well,
that's like,
I don't know.
That would be like 9 weeks of an NFL season. That's what I'm saying.
We did our best. We did our best.
And you still killed it.
Now I feel bad.
Well, there you go. It's your cold open. You didn't kill it. You kind of did. I don't know. I think you guys did.
I would say that if Ubisoft tried as hard as Stasia did at enjoying XDefiant, it might still be around.
You mean if the team got together and they all started playing it, they could have got the concurrence up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. It's Shack Together, America on the internet. If this is your first time joining us, Shack Together is a Shack News video game podcast featuring myself, Asif Khan, Co-ghost John Benjamin. There's no way he's gonna be today. This is not our usual recording time.
John is in LA. Yeah, he's out.
And but our producer Joe Stasio is here.
Hello.
And senior news editor over there at Shack News, TJ Denzer.
Hi.
Hey. So TJ, this isn't your first time here on the show. But you know, we try to jump right into things and ask people who join us, what have you been playing lately? And I know you've been playing something cool, so let the folks that don't know what you've been playing.
I have been playing the heck out of Indiana Jones and The Great Circle for review.
Wow.
It is very, very different from what I expected. I don't know. I think in my brutish brain, I saw machine games and I saw a first-person perspective, and I was like, oh yeah, we're in for more Wolfenstein. And it is absolutely not that.
Wow.
It is more of a brawling puzzle platformer with a very, very, very strong emphasis on the puzzle platforming side. You do a lot of exploration in this game. You do a lot of whipping around, disarming traps, running from danger, and putting clues together to like solve ancient mysteries or break locks. And I mean, it's an Indiana Jones game, so you punch Nazis, and the punching is very, very, very good. Like, I love the brawling in this game to a degree that I would love to see more brawling games out of machine games.
Wow.
But like the adventures are really cool. Like you jump off the tutorial and go right to digging through the crypts of Vatican City, which in of itself is a very, very grandiose setting for an adventure game.
But it's a common place for Indiana Jones to show up, especially at the beginning of his story.
Mm-hmm. And
cool.
It's got a lot of other great locales. Like you go to the pyramids in Giza. There's quite a few more. I won't spoil much more, but
sure.
I think this game, top to bottom, hit me in a way that I did not expect to enjoy. As far as just it's a very smart, cerebral adventure game that has some very satisfying punches and hits. But
so I had just an Indiana Jones specific question for you, TJ.
Sure.
When you're traveling between locales, does it do the whole map with the airplane and the arrow on it thing?
It absolutely does.
Awesome.
With the music and everything, just okay. You get that close up on the location and the red dot, and then it makes a line over to where you're going.
So you've been flying a lot this year, right?
Yeah.
When you have that screen in front of you and it tells you where you are on I've always felt like that was the Indiana Jones map.
Yeah.
That's
and
cool.
Ultimately, let's get to the voice acting and the music, because Troy Baker puts on a very convincing Harrison Ford in this game. Mm-hmm. If you didn't tell me it wasn't Harrison Ford, I don't know that I would have been able to figure that out on my own.
Wow.
I'm sure some people that listen to him ad nauseum would tell me, actually, but he does a very good job of capturing Indy's sort of bold yet no nonsense mood.
Mm-hmm.
And then other characters, this might actually be Tony Todd's last project that he did before he passed away this last November, unless there's something that I don't know about. But for those who don't know, Tony Todd is very, very popular, very famous in the horror community. He played Candyman.
Mm-hmm.
He's very well known. He was very well known for playing a lot of imposing roles, and he does one in this game, and man, he does a good job.
I think most recently he was the voice of Venom in the recent Spider-Man game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, he's accomplished voice actor and an amazing film and TV actor.
Yeah.
So that's pretty wild. Yeah, I did see. I remember seeing him in one of the trailers and just being like, "Oh, yeah, that is interesting." Because the character in the game kind of looks like him.
Yep.
Supposed to look like him. Yeah, that's interesting.
And we got a really good soundtrack. It's a remix of mostly Indiana Jones music, but it fits everything so well, and it all just comes together to make it feel like a good interactive Indiana Jones movie or series. That's the best way. It's like playing a really good Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah, I've always felt that way about the Uncharted series. Is they kind of felt like an Indiana Jones game. So it wasn't like I wasn't surprised when I saw who got this IP, but I always thought Naughty Dog would have been a good studio for this too, if they ever didn't make an Indiana Jones game. But what you talked about with Machine Games making this and how it's more of a brawler than a shooter, I always it just has me thinking back to Doom 2016, TJ, because Doom's a shooter, but the glory kill mechanic in that kind of made it a more of a melee kind of game, or at least a balance of shooting and melee. This sounds like it's more just straight up melee, and you use guns, but it's kind of like the movie itself, because the movies are not. I don't think they were R-rated, and this is rated T, right?
Yes.
So I think they made some choices, Joe, in this in the actual game that made it less violent than probably any other Machine game, because they're all the Wolfenstein games are really bloody and violent and have very visceral headshots and stuff. So it seems like they stepped away from a lot of their core competencies there, except for the glory kill mechanic, which it feels like that was adapted in this game, TJ, to make the melee combat more kind of varied and intense, right?
Right. I didn't even mention it, but there's a lot of emphasis on stealth and stealth takedowns in this game, where you can pick up a lot of different objects like canes, umbrellas, hammers, and if you sneak up on an enemy with an item in hand, you can do a stealth takedown on them, and it's usually pretty impactful and satisfying. One of my favorites is I snuck up on one with a rock hammer, and Andy just belts him in the kidney with it from the back, and then when he turns around, just breaks the head of the hammer off on his face.
Poof. So it's not like it's it's the most non-violent way of solving problems. It's more just that there's a level of slapstick in the Indiana Jones series when it comes to the action scenes and the fight scenes. So it's funny that they're kind of keeping that same vibe.
Yeah, Indy would be oh, whoops, kind of after he did something violent.
Yeah, he was never trying to kill anybody, right. But occasionally a boulder would roll over people or whatever would happen. He'd be like, "Oh, my bad."
Yeah, yeah.
How many times did you? How many times did you have to grab your hat at the last second in the scene?
I never got it knocked off my head, but it can happen, and I know that because there's a skill book in the game that if you get your hat back after it gets knocked off, it'll give you a health bonus for a short time.
Huh. Interesting.
So it is a big deal.
I mean, you can lose your. There's a whole mission in Red Dead 2 where you lose your hat and you have to get it back, I think. So that's interesting to hear that you can lose your hat in this game. But you were such a pro gamer that you didn't lose your hat at all during your playthrough?
No, not really.
Wow. Interesting.
TJ, how does the my first reaction when we think about first person stealth is Dishonored. I imagine that's most everyone's first thought. What's the comparison? How does this game how does it handle vision cones, and how do you know when you're in the shadows?
So it darkens the edges of the screen in an eye shape when you are in stealth mode, and also you have your icon of Endy in the bottom left corner, and there's a eye icon. So if that eye is open, then people can see you, and if it's not, then you're okay.
And can you kind of poke your head out, get seen, and then fix it?
Yes.
Right, that's
and
good.
I would say to a certain extent, they do a good job of. So almost any time that you do a platforming thing, the camera pulls out to a third person shot of Endy. And I think I like that because then it's less janky with the camera when you're moving along, when you're swinging on the whip or when you're climbing up a wall. I think that would be pretty barfy if that was just in first person all the time. So I like that they pull the camera out to give it a third person look for just a second while you do the platforming.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's cool. Nice. Anything else you want folks at home to know about this game?
What'd you give it?
I gave it a 9 out of 10. like I said, I don't know what I expected, but like when I got in for the ride, it was like all those feelings of watching Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade for the first time came rushing back to me, and it was nonstop fun as far as like the cutscenes, the character presentation, the music, the environments, and then the gameplay. It's the gunplay is probably the thing that sucks the most, just because like I actually had an instance where I tried to shoot somebody in the head and they survived the first shot. No helmet or anything.
Wow.
But like that was a little disappointing to see in a Machine Games game. But that's like one thing among the many that is mostly good.
Does this move the needle for Xbox that desperately needs a win and people to come over to their side?
That's hard to say, just because like is Indiana Jones as beloved as it was?
No.
No.
Yeah.
In fact, when you brought up Asif, Uncharted, it's like when Uncharted started, they were like, "Man, I wish we could be like Indiana Jones." And like this game, no fault of the game, but Microsoft going into this game's release is like, "Man, we could use an Uncharted."
Yeah.
You know, they're the underdog with this.
I think it's an excellent game.
They're the third largest company on earth, but they suck at this. And I don't think Machine Games sucks at all, but I'm saying Microsoft does.
Right.
Why I don't think this will move the needle at all for the Xbox platform is this game comes out on PS5 in spring. So you can just wait. If you're a console warrior, you can wait and you'll be able to play it in a few months.
It'll get that bump out of Game Pass, though, because I feel at least people will try that much and
which
work
we all know how
that way.
We all know how great that Game Pass bump worked out for Hi-Fi Rush. They pounded their chest about how 20 million people played it, and then so however many months later, how that story ended. Well, at least almost ended. But yeah, no, I don't think it's going to move the needle. No, not for Xbox, like the system, the PC ecosystem, maybe a little, but it's also TJ. You played this on PC, right?
Mm-hmm.
How was the performance on your PC?
Perfect. It was it's the first game that I've played on my current PC where when I started it up, it knocked my settings down to medium, and I was like, no. I had to reduce a couple settings for everything else to go back up to high.
Wow.
And I haven't had to do that before. So, but once I was in there, not a single glitch, not a single like screen like freeze up. Loading times were short. I didn't really notice any notable visual issues throughout any of my time with the game.
Yeah, I mean, it tech can be pretty scalable. Like, you know, they got Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal to run on Switch. And I think most of the Wolfenstein games also made their way over to Switch. So, like, yeah, I'm not... If you can run on that toaster oven of a console, I'm pretty sure it'll run on a decent gaming PC well. Interesting. Nice. Well, I guess we're all just gonna have to play that game at some point because it sounds delightful.
Yeah, I'm in.
Yep.
Nice. What else have you been playing?
I played The Thing Remastered for review.
That's right.
Which I liked that game back in 2002. I think it's aged a little rougher than some other Night Dive projects.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a very interesting horror game. For those who don't know, this was a PS2 game back in 2002, done with John Carpenter's involvement, actually, and it was written as a sequel to the 1982 movie. So this remake or this remaster bumps it up to 4K, lets you kind of unlock the frame rate. But I think one of the most important things is the game has like a randomized transformation system in it where you'll come across NPCs that help you and will like lend you help and like fight off the creatures with you. But there's a chance at any given point that they could become infected, and you just don't know until you use a blood test on them. And there was in the original game, some of the characters, like, despite how hard they tried to work to make this random, some of the characters were scripted to transform at a certain point, so there was nothing you could do to save them, and even if you got them to that point, they just randomly transformed at that point. And it was kind of a immersion breaker. So There's also a fear system in the game that when a soldier sees like too much crazy stuff, they'll start to crack and become completely useless and unreliable. And they use that fear system to kind of rework the randomization process, and it makes the game more interesting again. Like it makes those scripted segments feel less cheap and undeserved, and I think it makes it a better game.
Nice.
But yeah, you have to love that era of PS2 shooters and horror to, I think, really be into this one. But it's a cool thing, like, to bring back together, because it's such an odd thing in and of itself to create a system like that specifically for this game, and it works so well with like the themes of the thing as a whole.
Mm-hmm. It's just that Shack chat a few weeks ago where I suggested that they remake Redneck Rampage next. So we'll see what happens. I'm not saying they're running out, because there's so many FPS from that era that they could still do this with. But like,
if killing time was on the table, I think anything is possible.
Yeah, I was like, after they did Turok 3, I was like, okay, like, whatever. They can do whatever they want. Awesome. Cho, you've been playing video games that aren't XDefiant?
I have been miraculously active on the old games front. Yeah.
Are you doing a little Final Fantasy palate cleansing here?
Final Fantasy VII palate cleansing.
Yes,
you'll notice one of my inclusions is Final Fantasy.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like it's like you got done with Rebirth, and I can tell you, Joe, this isn't a spoiler, but like, I've been channeling your opinion of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth during the Game of the Year, the Shack News Awards deliberations.
I really want to be. You have my cell phone number. Allow me to be a lifeline if you need me.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably more coming, but I think the category that we're deliberating on today that Final Fantasy is nominated in, that you would probably agree with, is the best music category.
I was blasting it this morning. It's not only great, it's one of the best ever.
Yeah. So like, I think it's the one category where you probably wouldn't feel strongly on the negative side.
Well, if you had like a best graphics category, I could see this inclusion as well.
It was included in that category as well. It may not have won, but it was included.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's come up in several categories. I can't say I don't want to spoil any of the outcomes or the awards, but yeah. The way I've kind of explained it, Joe, and I don't know if you even ever said this, but like, Rebirth has Kingdom Heartsified the Final Fantasy VII story.
Yes. Maybe like an asterisk on that. We did. My asterisk on that maybe would be that, to me, that's not exactly the problem, because like, it's, to me, that's almost table stakes for any Final Fantasy property post 13, I guess. Like anything after 12 is kind of in that mode. It's just the complete and utter lack of brevity and consideration for pacing. That's the death knell for that game, I think.
Okay. So you're playing Final Fantasy 9.
I'm playing 9 for the first time. There's yeah, I know. Yeah.
Wow.
There's a well-liked mod that upreses a bunch of stuff and just helps it. I mean, it still looks ancient.
So you're playing this on the Steam Deck?
Yeah, great experience so far. What I wish I had was like snapshots. So like, I can't save in any more convenient spaces. Like, I still have to find the save points, but yeah, I mean, it's delightful. And I don't know, I'm like 3 hours in. Nice. That's going well. I wanted to mention, I played we missed 2 weeks, so I was going to bring this up last week, but I played and completed 1,000 Times Resist, and I'm curious, did this make any of your deliberations, your GOTY deliberations?
No.
Wow.
What is this?
1,000 Times Resist is a Joe Award for a game that made me cry in 2024. It's uncommon, not because I'm stoic or anything, but like, I'll go to a movie and I'll cry when the freaking title card hits. But games, in general, I have a harder time emoting, and this one got me. This is a story about generational trauma, more or less. And they really extrapolate that theme in like 5 different ways and apply it to a very perhaps overly complicated plot, if I'm being critical, but one with a little research, and a couple of YouTube videos afterward, which you're compelled to do because it's very well done, right? Like my wanting to look up more stuff about this game after I had rolled credits is a testament to that. It's just very affecting. But it is a 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim for 2024, basically. If I guess that's an if you know kind of thing. But
that is rad.
Did you play 13 Sentinels, TJ?
I did.
Have you heard of this?
I hadn't. And Bill showed me this game, sent a link to me for this game, I think last week. And that was the first I'd heard of it. So I was just sitting here finding it very coincidental that you see this game's praises. I hadn't had a chance to look at it, and it looks very interesting.
It's very well reviewed.
Yeah, I would say that this is going to be we should have played this game in many GOTY deliberations. This is masterful writing. And I will, A, because it's confusing, but B, because talking about it would give away the experience, but really recommend it. And it's like 10 hours. It's not going to take over your life, it's reasonable. Great. Last thing, very quickly, Jedi Survivor. I always have a inkling to play any Star Wars game that comes out. I always, like many of us, I grew up with Star Wars, right? So I like it, even though the front of my brain doesn't like it anymore, and it feels kind of like it's been butchered. I think that's a common sentiment. J.J. Abrams ruined everything.
Sure. It's just J.J.
Yeah. Well, it's not just J.J.
Only those 2 movies of the last one to get sure.
I didn't see Han Solo or Solo.
I'm talking about the middle one.
I quite liked that one.
I know we're not getting into this.
Comparatively, I should say. Comparatively is an important distinction. Jedi
it's
Survivor
over to me. It ended.
Yeah, no, it is over. I'm with you. This game is so janky.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
Yeah. Donkey has a really good video for this game if you haven't seen it. It is. I'm always shocked when people are like, "Oh my god, this is so polished." I'm like, "No, it's not. This is messed up as all hell."
Just like the running and jumping, I hate to get caught up on stuff like that. You play certain games, 1,000 Times Resist is janky. It was made by 7 people, right?
Yeah.
Jedi Survivor has all the money in the world behind it, and it's not like I'm too good to play a janky game, right? What I'm trying to say is there's a certain expectation for fidelity here that I just don't know how it happens. And I felt that way about Fallen Order.
Yeah.
And I think the jank extends beyond just I wish that looked better. When you gotta time your parries, and it just doesn't feel good. There's
the platforming aspect of the game sucks too.
Yes.
It's unfun. I don't, everyone's like, "Oh my god, the platforms." I'm like, I hate this. And then the collision detection, and they have these ridiculous platform, in-level platform kind of puzzles that you're just like, This is so stupid.
His what's the character's name? I'm already
exactly.
I played
Dash
4 hours.
Rendar's bastard child.
There you go.
Sorry, sorry to besmirch the good name of Dash Rendar.
How dare you?
Dash was not a Jedi. He was just a regular dude.
It is if the lower half of his body is gravitationally associated with his torso, but not connected to it. I don't know exactly how to articulate what I'm saying. It feels like his body is made of 2 halves that are attached in the style of Vector Man, but are not actually
It's now available on Nintendo Switch Online Sega app.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
It feels very strange, and it feels so strange to the extent that I cannot play it. I can't believe it's that. It is that off-putting of a game feel that I cannot play the game.
Yeah. I'm glad someone else feels this way, because I felt broken when everyone was like, "This game's great." I'm like, "What? No, it's not.
Yes.
I hate this game."
Now, the positives, and so briefly, it is gorgeous.
Yeah, it looks nice. Yeah, for sure.
It looks
But
really
that's
nice.
Industrial Light and Magic, man, they have awesome assets and stuff. You know what I mean? Like Star Wars and Disney and Lucasfilm and LucasArts, like they all have amazing artists over there.
Yes.
So even if the game sucks, it'll look nice.
Yes. So that's what I've been playing. What about you, Asif?
Oh boy. It's been 2 weeks, so I've been playing quite a bit of things. I guess the new, I've played Unicorn Overlord.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
It's great. Like
the follow-up to 13 Sentinels.
Yes. So like when you mentioned 13 Sentinels, I was like, oh, that's interesting because I'm playing Vanillaware's latest joint,
right?
Which is Unicorn Overlord. And yeah, this came from TJ's recommendation. You know, we're in the middle of deliberations, and I wanted to make sure that, like, you know, I gave it a good chance before we, talked about the strategy game of the year. And I really enjoy it. It sounds silly to say, but like this is what Advance Wars should have been. I think like when they delayed Advance Wars, it was because like, it was supposed to release like right when the Ukraine war started.
Right.
And it was that universe was almost too real, too close to reality, where like Unicorn Overlord obviously is in a fantasy world, but it is a more in-depth tactics game than you would get with an Advance Wars. But like, I guess my point is like they could have just taken Advance Wars and put it in a different setting and probably gotten away with those mechanics. But then there's all these quality of life improvements to the genre in this, where like, there's always a certain amount of turns in a tactics game, but in this, like, the amount of moves you can make at any given time are governed by how well you do in your battles, which I think is kind of interesting. I think like the being able to pause and like kind of redirect your platoons or your different teams is cool. Depending on like early on, I didn't realize like the guy on the horse mount was going to be faster, but of course he is. So it's like funny, like seeing like one of your teams like get to the enemy faster and how that affects everything. Obviously team composition, like who you have. Like there was this one enemy that had this big ass shield, so I had to use someone who had magic. But yeah, I think I'm still early on in the game, but after talking to TJ, it just seems like there's like a lot of optionality to the battle mechanic, and like the meta of the game is pretty deep. And the gameplay loop's just enjoyable. I found it very fun, and it's a nice chill game that you can kind of sit back and watch. You don't really have to play too much during the battles, right? But it is visually impressive. The music's great, and the overworld is cool. So yeah, I'm digging it quite a bit. And then
nice.
I'm still playing Animal Crossing.
Okay.
I built a soccer field, and it has stadium seating. So basically, there's what are there 2 or 3 levels? I guess there's 3 levels that you can have of elevation change in an Animal Crossing game. So I have this soccer field I built, and then I put like these benches, right, like as like the spectator area, and then above it on this hill, whatever, like the cliff above it, there's like 2 more up there. My island's now rated a 4-star, I guess, so I'm up like half a star since I started this project or restarted it. I've talked a few of my islanders out of moving out. They're all like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I missed you so much." So it's always adorable. Mm-hmm. I'm still doing that thing where like, I have a lot of trees on my island, so I'm trying to move them around and stuff. I built this whole plaza entrance that has like 2 Ferris wheels, and it looks pretty cool. Been enjoying that game quite a bit. Because I made 100 million bells in the turnip game back in the spring of 2020, and then I kind of stopped playing it for a while. So now I'm back, and I'm like, yeah, I'll buy that. Yeah, I'll buy that. Yeah, I'll buy that. I'm also just enjoying like getting in there and just doing like, the Nook Miles missions that you can do. I'm getting back into doing that stuff. Fishing a lot. I've been catching fish that I didn't have before. I got like a pond smelt, because the fish are all seasonal. So I don't think I was fishing as much this time of year in the past. So this is kind of Yeah, it's my go-to chill out game. I'm playing a ton of Balatro. I've beat since the last episode. I think I've beat it with like 2 or 3 more decks, and I've gotten to the last. I got into the big blind of the final ante. I want to say it's with the yellow deck. Is the yellow deck the one that gives you money, like more money, TJ?
Correct.
Yeah, I'm trying to win with the money deck right now, and I keep getting like very close to the end, and then the game does that thing where it screws you over at the last second. So yeah, playing quite a bit of that. I'm trying to think of what else I've been playing. Oh yeah, we finished the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe rankings.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, so
What was the best map?
Yoshi's Island.
Okay.
Yep.
Sure.
And number 2 was Royal Raceway. That was a heated debate between those two at the end. Mount Wario came at number 3. Well, we're going to do a stream where we play through all of them in order of our list, probably in the next few weeks, so stay tuned for that. So yeah, we did play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and finished our ranking there. And then yeah, this might surprise some people. I played a little bit of F-Zero 99.
Okay. TJ, I'm gonna leave. I'm sick of the lies.
But yeah, so they had that Galactic Grand Prix, and I joined the Discord and everything. But what I didn't realize is that they seem to be rotating which region has the advantage in time. So this time it was like the tournament started at 5 a.m. Eastern, and I was like, I'm not doing this. So I did not enter the Galactic Grand Prix. But then I looked at like who was winning and placing. All these people were like 99 3-star players, and I was like, yeah, I'm not even messing with this. But it's cool to just see like there's like an F-Zero Discord out there where almost any hour of the day there's a private match that you could join. So they're out there doing that. And that Discord, there's like some modded F-Zero games that have online play, like some ROM hacks and stuff. So it had been a home for games like that as well. So it's not that surprising to see it evolve. But yeah, congratulations to the winners. It just seems like Japan and Europe kind of had an advantage this time. So maybe next time they'll give us some love. But it does seem like there are 2 F-Zero Discords. There's like the American one, and then there's like the international one. And this was definitely the international one. So yeah, played a little bit of F-Zero 99. I'm like, I'm in first place in a lot of races now. Like I find myself in first place. I think I'm like 11 ranked. I'm an 11 rank, one star. I'm still sitting at like S8 right now. But yeah, I feel like I'm like right where I should be ranked when it comes to my head-to-head rank. And but yeah, I find myself in like the top 5. I'm either finishing like top 10 or I'm in like the 90s because I died. And I'd almost finish 90th than 5th, you know what I mean? Because I want to win. But yeah, but still having fun, still playing Grand Prix. I think I'm getting closer to winning a Grand Prix. But yeah, it's been great.
It still tracks character stats too, right? Like, have you checked up on where you're at in the world of Goro Racers?
Oh, it doesn't tell you. It doesn't rank you based on your vehicle each week. So no, but like each race, it tells you that, TJ. So like those races where I'm finishing 5th or whatever, I tend to be in the top 3 Goro Racers every race.
Yeah.
A lot of the time I'm the number 1, but no, they don't tell you that. They tell you how many races you've done per vehicle and how many wins per vehicle. But because I'm a stubborn dummy, I only play with one vehicle. But no, they don't. That would be cool.
Yeah.
They don't. They basically just rank you based on how many points you got in the Grand Prix mode. So I guess that's one area where they can improve it. But yeah, that's basically all I've been playing, man. Like, there's other, I don't know, I'm trying to get through, I don't know, you remember Sam was talking about Island of Sea and Sky or whatever, that puzzle game? I gave that a try.
Yeah. Nice.
It's okay. Yeah, it's that time of year where we're just trying to go through our Game of the Year stuff, and yeah, so like Unicorn Overlord was the one I like sat down with last week and was like, I'm gonna give this like a good hour or two, and it went by super quickly. That seems like the kind of game, TJ, that would be great for a plane ride.
Yes.
You could just play that and like you look up and you're like, oh, I landed. So yeah, very much enjoy what I've played in Unicorn Overlord. I think you would like it, Joe.
I'm certain I would. I've been eyeing it every so often, sitting on my shelf.
It was. Oh, you already own it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was on sale for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So I think I got it for like $35.
Nice.
Yeah, not a bad deal. I'm not sure. I don't know if these sales are still going on or not. Is Unicorn Overlord only on Switch?
Yes.
It's not only on Switch, it's also on PS5 because that's the way I played it.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I was thinking it's not on PC.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Vanillaware has a strange allergy to PC.
Right.
Huh. Okay.
They have never put any other games on there as far as I know yet.
I see. Okay. Yeah, so that's basically all I've been playing. Like I said, Balatro just owns my fucking life. I've been playing that more than anything else on that list, but yeah, those are the games I've been playing. And I'll keep playing Animal Crossing. And if Shadow of the Erd Tree is eligible for Game of the Year, I'm going to say Animal Crossing is too. But yeah, that'll do it for what we've been playing thing. But you got something for us, Joe? You got a segment? Sweet.
Yeah, let's do a little trivia game, shall we?
Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back after these important musics. Hey y'all, I've got handhelds on the brain. I'm an avid Steam Decker, which sounds gross. It's the first time I've said that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Maybe you should go to a doctor for that.
They don't know how to treat it. I've always been a handheld guy. I think many of us have one or many love affairs with that kind of gaming. I find it's always my favorite. And the conjecture around a new Sony handheld had me in that headspace. So I thought I would see how well you guys know your history in terms of handhelds.
Right.
Running the gamut, not just Sony handhelds. That would be a short segment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I ask the two of you, based on episodes past and the drama there within, do you want to buzz in with your name or Discord me, DM me?
I'm always a fan of the name buzz.
We'll do the name buzz. I'm okay with it.
All right.
I'm okay with it. John's not here, so we're not going to cry about it.
Fantastic. Well, with that in mind, I offer you this first question. Are you ready? Here we go.
So TJ buzzes in by saying TJ, and I buzz in by saying Asif.
Yeah, I'm sorry for not making that distinction before we started.
That's okay. I just wanted to clear it up for the folks at home.
Right. Thank you for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Question number 1. Let's keep our time in mind. Let's say first person of 5 points. How's that?
Okay.
Sure.
Which handheld gaming console is the best selling of all time? Asif.
Nintendo DS.
Correct. Do you know the number? For no points.
155 million?
Yeah, over 150. Yeah. Wild. Next question.
Sweet.
Which company released the first handheld electronic game in 1976? Who was responsible?
1976.
TJ. I'm going to just go on a limb and say Atari.
Atari is incorrect. Asif, you want to throw your hat in the ring?
Yeah. Asif, well, I don't know why, but it's like stuck in my head, so I might as well just say it. Coleco?
It was not Coleco. It was, in fact, Mattel.
Oh, okay. What was it
Funny
called?
enough, Auto Race.
Auto Race. Okay.
Interesting.
I didn't know that until this morning.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Was the Nintendo DS was the Nintendo DS a 16, 32, or 64-bit system?
TJ? 32, right?
Well, yes. 32
Yeah.
is the correct answer.
Yeah.
Yes. Wonderful. It is 1-1. Question 4. Which was the first portable gaming system with interchangeable game cartridges?
Asif. Game Boy?
Correct. Well done.
Nice.
Next up. What was the first handheld gaming device to feature a backlit color screen?
TJ.
Asif.
TJ.
Is that going to be the Game Boy Advance?
Incorrect.
Asif.
Asif.
Game Boy Advance SP.
Incorrect.
Wait. backlit color? Is that what you said?
I have here, and please, I am not immune to failure. The Atari Lynx
Oh yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Okay,
is listed.
backlit. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, sure.
That's what it says.
Yeah.
In my memory, it is backlit.
Yeah, it is.
Now, wasn't
It
the
is.
problem with the Lynx that it drained in like 8 minutes?
It was also uncomfortable, but yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
it was battery destroyer.
Next up. Which 1998 product was launched by Nintendo to shake up their Game Boy Color product line?
EJ.
TJ?
Game Boy Color Pocket?
Incorrect.
Asif,
Asif?
Game Boy Color Mini.
Incorrect. Let me reread the question. You can both try again. Which 1998 product was launched by Nintendo to shake up their Game Boy Color product line?
EJ.
TJ?
Game Boy Camera?
Correct.
Oh my god.
Okay, yeah,
That thing
Well done.
was weird.
it is. It's still
For
weird.
sure. We are at 2-2, toe to toe.
Yep.
Which handheld gaming device was the first to include Wi-Fi capability?
EJ.
Awesome.
Ooh, TJ got you. 3.
I'm gonna say
2,
the 3DS.
Incorrect.
Asif,
Asif?
PSP.
Incorrect.
Huh.
The Nintendo DS was the first handheld gaming console to include built-in Wi-Fi capability.
There it is. I couldn't remember if I'd set
That
up
was-
internet on the first one or not.
That's right. They demoed that at the reveal because they're like, you can play Mario Kart online.
Now, what I don't remember is, was the DSi, was that simply just a cardless version, or did that have extra internet capability?
No, I thought the I was the camera.
Oh, I thought I stood for internet. What do I know?
I thought the big deal on the DSi was that it had a. Huh.
We'll never know. Next question. What was the first handheld gaming system to use optical discs instead of cartridges?
The
TJ?
PlayStation Portable.
That is correct.
Yeah,
UMD, Universal Media Discs.
the future of gaming.
I was so out of the loop when I got a Vita that when I heard that it was backwards compatible with the PSP, I grabbed a couple hard copies of, for example, Tactics Ogre and I think Final Fantasy Tactics I got to, only to find that I was purchasing UMD discs and there was no way to get that on the Vita.
Yeah.
What a waste of money. In what year was the 3DS first released to the public?
Asif.
Asif? Incorrect.
EJ.
TJ?
2007?
Incorrect. Floor is open.
So again,
Yeah.
2011.
That's right.
Mm.
It was
Japan.
when Fukushima
yeah.
happened. I was,
Yeah, February 2011, first in Japan, and then the following month in North America and Europe.
and I believe the Fukushima meltdown occurred in either April or March of that year. It was a cursed year for Nintendo. It began 3 cursed years for their financial results, where they almost died, according to the Bears. A little history for you.
Folks, we have a 3-3 tug of war going, and there are several questions remaining. Let's see if anyone can hit 5. What was the best-selling game? Excuse me. What was the best-selling game for the original Game Boy?
Asif.
Asif.
Tetris.
Correct.
Man, I was gonna.
Okay, this next question, there are more than one answer, so I will allow you both to answer. You don't have to buzz in, and who's ever closest.
Closest.
Yeah, who's ever closest to truth. I'll worry
Closest
about
to
that.
truth.
Here we go.
Okay.
What was the Nintendo advertised battery range for 4 AA batteries on the Game Boy?
EJ.
Okay.
I want to say it was 6 hours.
Okay. Asif, what was the advertised range?
So is this like Price is Right rules?
No,
Closest
no,
guy.
who's ever closest.
This closest.
Who's closest?
6 hours? I'm gonna say like 90 minutes.
1.5, final answer?
Yeah.
Extremely off. The Nintendo advertised range for battery life was 10 to 12 hours for 4 AA
Yeah.
batteries.
Okay.
Wow.
They
Point
were
to
being
TJ. We are
optimistic.
sitting. Yeah, extremely. 4 to 4
Oh boy.
So I guess this is it. Whoever gets the next point.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'll give you a good one.
I was going to say, like, I remembered thinking that the Game Boy advertised something like 8 to 14 hours at some point, and that seemed too ambitious.
That was the era of Nintendo kind of overpromising.
Okay, here we go.
Power Glove, etc.
I am only accepting correct, fully correct answers here.
Okay.
What did SNK release in the late 90s to compete with
TJ.
Okay.
The Neo Geo Pocket Color.
God damn it.
Oh, wow. Perfect. Yes. Wow.
I had no chance.
I loved that thing.
Yep, that was a thing.
Well done, TJ. A earned victory, certainly.
Do you know how mind-blowing it was in my 5th grade class that you could have Metal Slug in the palm of your hands and just play it whenever you felt like it?
Neo Geo had a vision.
Sounds great.
And it never came to reality, man. But that you could play the arcade game, but it was also a handheld game, but it was also you know what I mean? Like they had a vision. I don't think they ever got there. But yeah, that handheld was cool.
Wow. Great job, both of you. It was photo finish.
No one ever remembers who got second place in these games.
It's okay.
But it's me usually.
That's actually not true because I do.
It's usually me. Anyway, yeah, we'll be right back with story time, so stay tuned. Welcome to story time. Let's dive into the latest stories from the past week. We are going to start with Storytime Previewza, which is a preview palooza from your friends at Shacknewza.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Path of Exile 2 looks pretty sweet.
Yo, Path of Exile 2 makes Diablo look like child's play.
I agree. Ozzy Mejia had I believe he had a chance to check it out. He's been kind of covering this game for, I don't know, since they announced it. And he got a chance to talk to them and look at what's going to happen during this early access period. But the game is adding a robust end game. In a conversation with them, Grinding Gears game co-founder Jonathan Rogers said, "One of the really important things in any action RPG is the end game. Now, something that happens almost every time a new action RPG launches is people saying there wasn't enough endgame content. We really want to make sure that PoE 2 wouldn't feel that way. And it's something that we actually changed our priorities for as a studio relatively recently." It was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Because that is the thing that drags in the Diablo games. And I think before the Vessel of Hatred came out, I think a lot of people were feeling this way about Diablo. They do a really good job of supporting their games after they launch too. So I think it's pretty cool though that they're addressing this ahead of the game's full release. And it's a great alternative to the Diablo dungeon crawler stuff.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. TJ, you got to check out 2 Point Museum.
I did.
I think I saw one person comment, hope this is better than Campus. Do you think it's better than Campus?
I do. And I think it's just the sheer amount of activities that they're adding to this one. Mm-hmm. So far for what I've played in 2 Point Museum, it's similar to Campus in that you're given control over a themed grounds and you build it up from nothing into a proper working business. And campus, it was stuff like college studies where at one place you would focus on science and at another place you would focus on biology or stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And this one, the museum grounds represent different studies of archaeology. So in the first one you get dinosaur fossils and Jurassic period stuff. And then in the second one, you get undersea discoveries, different kinds of fish, different kinds of lost civilization. Atlantis is the theme of the second one. And then the third one is supernatural stuff. And one of the biggest differences is that to get exhibits for your museum, you have to send explorers out to go and do expeditions. Huh. And those expeditions have different things to them where if you there are things that can happen that can injure your workers, and so they won't be able to go on more stuff or work in your museum for a couple days if they come back injured. But they can also like get bonuses and like bring you back not only exhibits for your museum, but like different perks, like more money or different bonuses. And then they also added stuff like kids and thieves to this game. You're going to actually have to battle a threatening element that will mess up your museum if you don't have guards on duty and trained to deal with that stuff.
You need that guy that says, hey, don't touch that thing.
Mm-hmm.
You need an army of those guys.
And I love it's like cat burglars, but also just jerk children.
That's funny.
They got chocolate all over their fingers and they're about to ruin the Mona Lisa. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they're doing a good job of like upping the amount of things you can do in addition to just the business oversight of any given place. And I'm really enjoying it so far.
Yeah, I think that's what Hospital had in spades, right? It was like just the variety of what the different rooms, like the problems those rooms would create. I think this is kind of like that.
Yeah.
Interesting. I like this franchise. And when I saw this get revealed, I was like, man, this would be a perfect thing to do like a Night at the Museum crossover with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like just looking at the world they built already, I'm like, this would be perfect for that. I don't know if Ben Stiller's listening, but I don't know. Doug Bowser, you probably know Ben Stiller, so let him know. Awesome. And then, yeah, TJ, you like basically carried previews of this week. You and Ozzy. You also got to. Is it Nazi Bastion week? Because we got Sniper Elite Resistance and we got Indiana Jones. But I mean, Sniper Elite, man, they've been revolutionizing shooting Nazis in the nuts for like, I don't know, almost a decade now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this Resistance game looks pretty sweet.
Yeah, I think one of the things I've loved most about Rebellion's development, like as a studio over time, is that like they've taken the Sniper Elite series from like concentrated missions where you just hit that snipe and leave to these vast open world sandbox maps.
Yep.
Where you can go so many different routes to figure out your objective and do it all sorts of different ways. Like, you can go loud and angry in a Sniper Elite game now if you really want to. But like a lot of the mechanics are built around that X-ray shot system. So obviously you want to get a good rifle and you want to settle in to hit somebody in the map that way. But it's pretty cool that like in this one mission I got to check out, there were probably about 5 different possible routes I saw that could have been taken to the objective, and I only had enough time to play one of them.
Yeah,
so we're talking about like these maps are going to have some fun replayability.
Mm-hmm. And they're like these can be speedrun, which is really fun to watch if you've ever seen anyone kind of run through these games.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I'm always here for another Sniper Elite. They make some really fun games.
Yeah, they do.
And yeah, you can kill Hitler.
Their VR game, the Sniper Elite VR game, is probably some of the most fun I've had with VR in the last few years.
Yeah, the whole how it used like the one eye gameplay. It's like yeah. I thought that was super immersive. Yeah, that was a fun game. Anyway, on to Reviewza. Storytime Reviewza is trademarked. It's a Reviews Palooza from Shacknooza.
Yes.
I didn't know Fitness Boxing had three versions of the game already, but it did. Diamond Erskine reviewed it for us. It's fine. He gave it a 6 out of 10. He said the punch timing doesn't really matter. That sounds terrible.
Right. That seems like the entire point of it.
Yeah. This does not appear to be a great game. It's just kind of there. This is what you would have seen. This is like what late era Wii felt like, right? Whereas here, you know, I don't want to disparage the Switch year 8 because we did get Echoes of Wisdom and, you know, all sorts of other cool random games, but this is what you see at the end of a console cycle is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And yeah, 6 out of 10 from Donovan. Another 6 out of 10 that I'm wondering what you think of this, Joe, because the internet was pretty shocked by this review score. Lucas White reviewed Fantasian Neo Dimension, gave it a 6 out of 10. He praised the
That feels right.
visuals, the combat mechanics, the puzzles, the soundtrack, obviously outstanding. He said that he described it as absurd, fun-destroying difficulty, even within the normal mode. Unremarkable storytelling and slight performance issues on the Nintendo Switch. What do you think of all this, Joe?
Well, I've played a Mistwalker game or two in my time, and there is always strange difficulty, and Final Fantasy has that too, from the Godfather of Final Fantasy. But that was my experience with the Apple Arcade Edition. If you remember, it came out in 2 halves, and the second half was punishing. And you just don't come to certain games for that. So I didn't like that, and it sounds like they did not tweak it.
No.
And I could see a review losing points for that in a game like this. It's just not why you're here. On top of that, it's a weird game. It's really beautiful. But I think it struggled for me to it struggled to stand out. And it's been 3 years since I've played it, so like my memory is not perfectly there. But this review, the pros and cons list and the number feels right to me.
I love this this heading as H2 in his review. He says, "I've been playing for 60 hours. Why are you hitting me for 6,000 HP?" Yeah, he just kind of it's just unrewarding, I think, at times, which can be super frustrating and demotivating when playing an RPG.
It's an identity crisis too, because you have to, if you're going to be a game that's punishing, the system should support it. And this battle system is novel and it's fun, but it's not tuned for that kind of play. It's not for number crunchers, it's more of a little tight puzzle game with you're trying to find these curves where you can hit as many folks as possible.
Is this the game where you can like skip random encounters and then fight them at the end of it?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. But it can also be a nightmare. It's like not eating your vegetables all week and putting them on the side. Then like on Saturday you have to eat all 5 days of vegetables that you didn't eat all week.
Just drowning in a pile of radishes.
Broccoli, yeah. That's at least how it looked to me. But yeah, we were a bit of an outlier among the reviewers of the game. But I don't know. I trust Lucas's opinion on RPGs.
I was going to say, because like people were giving him crud for like skill issue, but no, you must understand. Lucas White is a certified RPG freak.
Yeah,
he's the guy who comes to us and asks specifically about things like Romancing Saga 2 and other crazy like outlier RPGs that probably a lot of folks don't even think about. When Lucas White says that an RPG is hard, that means that it's not just hard. It's like Lucas White hard. So
LWH.
Yeah.
Another trademark here. Check together. Yeah. No, I agree. So like I didn't even bat an eye when I read his review. I was like, yeah, I trust him that he's not bullshitting here. I wonder if other reviewers just didn't even make it to the point he did. And that's why they're just like, yeah, to get this review out the door. Not accusing anyone of that. I'm just saying sometimes that happens. But yeah, on to the next review here. Monument Valley 3, guys. It's good. It's real good. I'm excited. I love puzzle games and I love mobile games, and this is a mobile puzzle game, and I already have Netflix.
Yeah, I never played any of these. What's the elevator pitch?
It's MC Escher puzzle game.
I think I know what you mean, but like, what? So you have to guide things on paths that don't make sense or something?
It's not that they don't make sense. They're just not as apparent as they would be. So it's like there's a lot of misdirection in the game where it's like you think you're going that way, but then you tap this one area and it flips things around. And you're like, oh,
yeah.
So I always say this about puzzle games. A good puzzle game knows how to make you feel stupid, right? Mm-hmm. This game does that extremely well. But then also, like, the actual environments they're building, Joe, like, it'll look like you're on the same plane, but then there's a staircase connecting that plane. So it's like, wait a second, is there an elevation change happening here or not?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I see that.
So it's like, so much of the puzzle design is informed by the art, and then it's interactive and interchangeable. It's just masterfully designed puzzle game.
This is like the issues people would run into in the 90s with Infinity Engine perspective, but gamified, because that was always like, what do you mean I can't walk up this hill?
Yeah.
But they made a game out of it.
Monument Valley. I've been playing these games since the first one because they're good short-term cell phone games that I like puzzle games on mobile. This series has always felt like it was the reasonable evolution of what Fez did back in the day.
Sure.
In which turning every stage is a geometric shape, and turning it in a way that makes the path clear is how you solve the puzzle.
Or it's like Captain Toad on like mescaline or something.
Yeah.
Like it's like a very trippy version of Captain Toad. But yeah, it's just rewarding as hell, man. Like I love this franchise, and I think the only negative that really stuck out to me is it's not that long of a game, but it does seem like the kind of game that they'll support with updates. You know, like you can just add more puzzles to, kind of thing.
Wasn't this just line art in the past, the previous entries? Am I remembering that wrong?
Maybe.
It
was
very
just like, really simple.
It was minimal.
Mm-hmm. This looks great.
Yeah, it's outstanding. I'm excited to check it out. It got an 8 out of 10 at Shack News. We reviewed My Sims, the Cozy Bundle. Josh Broadwell finally got around to playing this. Gave it a 6 out of 10. From what I've seen, fans of The Sims, and specifically of the My Sims series, seem to be really happy with this, and it's actually being played quite a bit. It's kind of like Animal Crossing meets Sims, which Sims is already Animal Crossing-like, but these are like chibi Sims. Yeah. This is a very popular game, despite it getting a 6 out of 10 in Shack News. It says, My Sims Kingdom is joyous and silly, balances resource gathering, and task complexity so it never feels boring or overwhelming, flexible building customization. I said the social system is practically non-existent, and I mentioned that in my Animal Crossing playthrough. It's like one of my favorite parts is when they like run up to you and like, I missed you. So like,
right.
A lot of companies are like trying to make Animal Crossing games, but I'm not sure if they understand what makes Animal Crossing truly unique. It's not that you can farm. And I think a lot of games are like, well, you can farm. He did say the world design's kind of bland. And then My Sims tasks are kind of uninspiring. Restrictive character customization. I mean, I'm not expecting a Dragon Age the Veilguard level of character creator in a My Sims game, but just not great, not terrible. 6 out of 10 at Shack News. And then Donovan reviewed I should have mentioned it. I kind of have been glossing over this and what I've been playing lately, because I don't even really consider it a game the way I'm playing it. But yeah, Donovan reviewed Pokemon TCG Pocket, that mobile game that's already made over $140 million for the Pokemon Company. He nailed it. It's a very yin and yang kind of review where he praised the design of it and, the interactive cards or the immersive cards, the opening of the packs, all that, the battles being simplified. But Donovan really did take it to task for having too many in-game currencies, being manipulative, and kind of encouraging gambling. I know a lot of these games kind of feel that way. And then he also pointed out that because of the limited amount of Pokemon cards in the game right now, the actual Pokemon card game meta is kind of lame. It boils down to, I think most players are using one of two packs right now, one of two decks, and that's kind of lame. But in spite of all that, people are handing over truckloads of money to the Pokemon Company. But yeah, he gave it a 6 out of 10.
Wow,
took
it's 4 6s.
It's almost like Shack News doesn't always give things 10s.
Yeah.
But yeah, on to Newsa. But yeah, like, I agree with everything Donovan said in that review. And he's our resident Pokemaster. But yeah, despite all that, I don't have a problem playing it the freeway, Joe. Like, I just don't care. Like, when it tells me I can't open a pack, I'm like, whatever. I just basically open it once a day, open a pack, see if I get new cards. I like doing that. I'd rather do that than actually buy real cards.
Sure.
But yeah, you can play it for free. It's just not nearly as rewarding. I'm sure that I'm curious how long it's going to take me to get all of the cards, and if by that time they'll already have an expansion with more cards in it or not. So we'll see. But yeah, on to Newsa, which is a news palooza coined by Shaq Newsa, and yes, it's trademarked. You kind of hinted at this in your game section, Joe. A PlayStation handheld device is reportedly in the works at Sony. I believe Bloomberg had an exclusive story about this where they said people close to the source or whatever, basically someone within Sony leaked this to them. I don't find this surprising at all. I think Nintendo Switch 2 is going to face the most competition we've seen for a Nintendo handheld probably since the DS. And it's because of the success of these products that they're facing such competition. But yeah, Sony's seen muted success with their PlayStation Portal, which is like a tethered handheld, essentially the Wii U gamepad of the PS5. I mean, no offense, I love the Wii U gamepad. That's not a negative statement by me. But the idea of a standalone, a handheld PlayStation that can play PS5 games, that sounds pretty great.
Yeah, I don't understand how that would be possible. Just understanding basic thermals and, what it takes to power a PlayStation 5. I don't know.
Also, how fucking huge the PS5 is.
Yeah.
What, am I going to have a backpack? How the hell is this going to work?
Yeah, it's going to be like the Vision Pro. It's going to have a little block you have to slide into your knapsack.
A little block, yeah.
The backpack will be sold separately for $300.
Now, to be fair, the chip framework that Steam Deck runs on is the same as the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. So, but to your point, they have different thermal considerations.
Yes. And PC games inherently have a settings page. You can't just pop in Call of Duty for PlayStation 5 and expect to tweak it to match the hardware. The devs would have to do that.
Yeah. It goes back to that whole, it's why Nintendo got rid of their handheld division. Is they're we have to develop games for handheld and we have to develop games for console, and it divides our work. This is going to create more work, to your point, Joe.
Yeah. And I came out swinging there, but I'm in, I love this stuff. I hope it's awesome, but as stated, a handheld that plays PlayStation 5 games that is misleading, and people are getting excited based on a fallacy there that it won't be that cut and dry.
No, but I do think that because it's in the early stages of development, let's say this comes out in 4 years, Joe, it's possible that it could run some PS5 games.
Maybe.
But it would cost $1,000. You know what I mean?
I still think the battery is the biggest bottleneck.
Yeah. Dude, you know who's the master of threading that needle? It's Nintendo. But yeah, I think you're right. I think battery was a consideration with Steam Deck that I think they kind of nailed. That 3 hour, 4 hour for most robust games. I think that's the right amount of time.
Final Fantasy IX, you get 9 hours on a full charge.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But for a game that's using online play or something, I think you get about 4 hours on a Steam Deck.
Yeah, sure.
I think if they can hit that kind of battery performance, it'll be fine. But I wonder what the environment's even going to look like by the time this handheld comes out, because from the Bloomberg article, it really appears it's early days of development for this. So
right.
It's probably still form factor and ergonomics and stuff, right? They're probably not even settled on a chip yet.
Now, there's similar rumors. I think it's only rumors. I could be wrong for Microsoft doing something like that.
Yes. Yes.
And I actually have more faith in the tech side of it, not necessarily in the go to market. That's where Xbox fails. They don't.
You have faith in a Microsoft handheld?
I have faith in Microsoft's ability to translate an existing library to a different form factor. Based on what they did with backwards compatibility and how they, developed all this technology around running old stuff better. And presumably maybe they could come up with a way to do the opposite and make stuff that's intended for a 4K TV to run at 60, which that's kind of a joke. 4K 30. If they could somehow manage to wrangle a 4K 30 console release down to 720p at 60 or something like that, I have a little more faith in the engineering on that side, just based, on pedigree there.
But I think the problem that you're not really, maybe you're considering, but I don't think you might need to think about a little bit more, is that Satya Nadella has a boner for fucking cloud computing, Joe. And they're just going to shove cloud computing into that handheld as much as they can.
I'm certainly not making any claims on what they are doing, but if they took to task, if these two organizations are taking the task on of how do we shrink down a console experience, and they're gonna say, I want to leverage these two console generations. I don't want to go to market with 0 games in our library, right? I want people that already bought XYZ on our platform to get a new piece of hardware and see it on their homepage.
Yeah.
Because of that factor, that's the only, I'm giving credit to Xbox's team at having pulled, some magic off in the past there.
But like, I would rather buy anything Steam Deck related over anything Microsoft.
100%. Totally.
That's the problem. Like, I think that both of these companies are entering I'm not saying it's all overcrowded space, but it's becoming more crowded, and I think that there's two major players that are already killing it,
right?
And Nintendo Switch is already, Nintendo's already come out and said that Switch is going to be backwards compatible. Switch 2 will be backwards compatible with Switch.
Yep.
So Microsoft being like, hey, you can play Crackdown 3 on this handheld, I don't know if anyone's going to give a shit.
I agree. Yep.
I think,
but
PlayStation
if they do,
says, yeah,
right. I think it might be pretty good experience. Just like you said, will anybody care? Probably not.
Now, if PlayStation comes out and they're like, here, you can play Wolverine on this thing, people are going to be interested. So,
absolutely. Yep.
And I think what we've seen with the Portal is that PlayStation fans, they want to support PlayStation still, especially in light of how monopolistic Microsoft has been behaving. It has created, I think we're witnessing more console war tribalism in the last 2 years than we had the previous 5, and it's all related to the Activision Blizzard deal. And now they might, we mentioned it on the previous episode, but we're talking about From Software might get acquired by Sony. So I feel like we're still, if they announced a handheld version of Bloodborne, I think the world would go insane over that, like a Bloodborne remake. So I can think of things that Sony could pull and put on their handheld that would actually sell the system. I don't have as much faith that Microsoft can do that, but we'll see. And then we already mentioned this one, but Joe and his friends are the reason that XDefiant closed. It's not really the truth. Ubisoft is mismanaging everything over there. Even things that are good, they screw up, it just sucks. It's a very competitive market. And I think it's important to note that this is a free-to-play game, but you have to put it against the backdrop of what just happened in Fortnite this past weekend, Joe. It was 14 million people showed up for the special event in Fortnite.
14.3, yeah.
Yeah, and you had Snoop Dogg, Kaiju Snoop Dogg, and Kaiju Eminem, and they dropped a Juice WRLD single in Fortnite. Fortnite is dropping singles now. It's wild, man. What's happening at Fortnite, everyone's trying to chase, and a lot of these games are just going to be forgotten because Fortnite is just so goddamn massive now. But yeah, that was a cool weekend for Fortnite, and I just think it's a music platform now.
Yeah.
Too bad they couldn't get Kendrick Lamar. That would have been delightful.
That would have made the entire community lose their minds.
Yeah, if he dropped his album, or I don't know, if he played TV Off in Fortnite, and that was the first time people heard him scream mustard, and there was this kaiju Kendrick Lamar screaming mustard, that might have broken the entire internet forever. But yeah, he's out there fighting the good fight.
The mustard thing feels like something that's not an if it will come to Fortnite as an emote, but more of a win.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Great pop off. Baldur's Gate 3 is adding crossplay. Hallelujah. and 12 new subclasses. What? In 2025.
So many.
Dude, and they were like, we're not going to do many major updates anymore. Then they come out, they're like, here's another major update. Well, what? You guys just said, like, hey, don't expect too much from us. Then they're like, here's 12 subclasses. I was like,
how are there like 12 new ways to play the game?
Right.
And the crossplay is huge, TJ. That's like a big deal. I can't love you anymore, Larian. It's impossible.
They are cranking up the dial on Baldur's Gate 3 being a backlog game. Like, this is now like, all right, I'm definitely not going to play this yet. I'm going to wait. And then there's going to be some new announcement where they're like, and we're adding a fourth act. Like, all right, I'm going to wait. Like, this game is so jam packed, and they keep giving me reasons to hold off.
Like, here's the Switch 2 version.
Yes.
We'll see.
This is a free update too. You have to understand, most companies, if they told you they were giving you 12 new classes to fiddle,
That's an
even
expansion.
if they're subclasses,
That's a
that
paid
would be
expansion.
like,
yeah.
pay us $30 for that.
That would cost $500 in Destiny 2.
Right?
So, like, this is free?
Absurdly generous.
Free and unexpected? I can't love you anymore, Larian. Please, stop.
Game of the year
Don't- actually,
2024?
don't stop. Huh?
Game of the year 2024?
No.
No, I'm just trying to rally you up, Asif.
No. Zelda was. Yeah, barely. So, apparently, Local Funk and PlayStack, they're cashing checks. They made over $4 million on Balatro Mobile already. That's awesome. I'm just so happy for them. I love stories like that game. I think it's this remains one of the best stories of the year in video games. And yeah, that's awesome. Oh yeah, Cyberpunk 2077 has sold 30 million units since launch. And it's kind of become a turnaround. That game was complete poo-poo when it shipped on consoles back in, what was it, 2020?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Phantom Liberty, a lot of the updates, they have a very good game now.
Yep.
This was a weird one. Nintendo Switch eShop and online services are going to close down in China in 2026. This is a reverse of course for Nintendo, who had kind of been moving into the Chinese markets. So that's weird.
That's such a big audience to walk away from.
Something must be up with the process of getting games approved or something, or there might be, I don't know. Something's up though, because they've had a distribution partnership with Tencent for a few years now, and this might be the end of that relationship. So I'm not entirely sure why it's happening, but from a shareholder perspective, this sucks because,
yeah,
to your point, that is the best growth market for them. And with the Mario movie being shown over there, this is, the Mario movie effect is still happening in places like China. So that sucks. But that's Newsa. On to Storytime Industruza, which is an industry news palooza brought to you by Shaq Newsa. Shuhei Yoshida is leaving PlayStation after 31 years at the company and just being an awesome dude and an awesome force for most recently indie games. He was kind of in charge of publishing the indie stuff that you'd seen on PlayStation. But he's also just a funny dude who had been involved in all sorts of different initiatives at Sony, working with developers, landing different things. And yeah, he's one of the more public-facing people at the company. You see him on podcasts and stuff, or you see him at, I don't know, not E3, but you used to see him at E3. Anyway, we salute him. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
And I hope he has fun and, whatever he's doing next, be it just retiring or whatever. And then, yeah, because it's a day ending in Y, Elon Musk said something stupid. He says he will create an AI video game studio to remove all the woke that is ruining video games. Hooray.
Cannot
know
imagine.
what? Please do it. Please.
Yeah, let's see what this
Go
is.
ahead and do that and bring all of your sycophants along with you so that they have to pretend that whatever you come up with is good. And the rest of us can continue to play the games that actually have effort put in them.
Yeah. We're very close to this Emperor has no clothes moment for AI, man. Joe, Apple Intelligence sucks.
In what I believe you. In what capacity have you been engaging with it?
The fucking Photos app. What the fuck is that? What the fuck did they do to the Photos app?
I keep seeing so much
bad.
conjecture about the Photos app, and I pulled it up, and it looks the same for me. Is it only the new phones?
No, I haven't. Here's how much I hate this new phone. It's still in the box. I haven't even opened it yet. I have I have the new Mac, and I have this iPhone 14 Pro still, and it doesn't have Apple Intelligence on it, but it has this new iOS. Like, I can't. It used to be really simple to navigate to your favorites photos. It was like, you didn't have to do anything. Now you have to like scroll all the way to the bottom, and like, there's all this bullshit. It's like, here's a slideshow that we made for you. Here's this bullshit. And it's like, I don't want any of it. I just want to open the Photos app and click on the favorites button and look at what the favorites are. I don't want you to make a fucking video out of all these pictures. It's stupid. It's like solving fucking problems that never existed and then doing it in a way that breaks the UI. It's like they ruined the music app with the iPod. Like, dude, I could have, on the original iPhone, you could drag and drop how you wanted to navigate through that app. So it was like playlists, albums, artists, songs. Now you just have one fucking button that says library, and the other 3 buttons are just ways to get you to give them money for Apple Music, which I don't actually pay for. I only buy music on my stupid iPhone. But like, now they're ruining the Photos app, and it's just ridiculous. And it's like, hey, we made 5 new videos of your dead dog. I'm like, fuck you, Apple. Holy shit. Wow. I don't want any of these.
Wow.
It's like, fuck you, Apple. Stop it. Just let me navigate my fucking photos. So they've ruined navigation on music, and now they're ruining it on fucking photos. For what? Siri still fucking sucks. Holy shit. How is Siri still this fucking bad? Like, how are you going to call this Apple Intelligence and Siri is still this fucking bad? Like, I was trying to get Siri to play the song TV Off while, like I was just trying to do that. Guess what it did? It turned my Apple TV off. From upstairs. I'm upstairs in the shower yelling at my phone, and it's turning off a TV downstairs. I fucking hate that thing. It's like,
Asif, do you know the 30 Rock clip of some executive trying to show Jack Donaghy a new feature for the DVR, and he pulls up a clip of, I think, Law and Order, and the clip is like, I'm gonna go home and delete all the entries on my DVR, and then the box implodes. So it's actually playing out in real life, is what you're telling me.
Dude, it's so frustrating. It's like, this is the part of the Apple ecosystem that I think is like horrible. They're like, the idea that Apple is going to be disruptive in the AI industry is so false. This is the most nerfed, stupid version. Like, you know what I don't need is AI to summarize a fucking website that I'm reading. I'm already there fucking reading it. I don't need you to summarize. I'm fucking reading it. It's like, stop trying. Like, and I don't know if you've seen the ads where it's like the idiot's like texting his boss, and his boss is like, wow, this is such an eloquent text from, Bill? And it's like, what? I guess maybe if you're an idiot, Apple Intelligence is good. I guess that's what it is. But no.
But what about when one of the bosses, the second reply is like, did you just use ChatGPT to text me?
Yeah.
That's what would happen.
Seriously, yes, that's exactly what would happen. But yeah, anyway, I don't understand it, man. Like, Apple has become a company that ships stuff that already existed, and it's worse than the existing product. Or services. It's like Apple TV Plus is a worse version of Netflix. The Vision Pro is like a worse version of, I don't fucking know, the Valve Index or the Oculus Quest 3 or something. At least the Mac is not garbage. The Mac is pretty good. And you don't have to use these Apple Intelligence things, but like, why they have to ruin the Photos app? There's nothing wrong with it. They're just out there. They're doing that UI designer thing, Joe, where it's like, I have to make sure I keep my job, so I'm going to ruin this thing now. Or those people the person who designs the control or gameplay in FIFA every year, or EA Sports Football or whatever, they just switch the lob button from A to B every other year on Xbox. And that's like all they do. Yeah, I fucking hate the Photos app. And fuck you, Apple, for like, just, it feels gross when they're just like, here's this thing we made for you. Here's this thing. I didn't ask for any of this. Like, I don't want it. Yep. Anyway, before we go, we want to hit our community notes. We got a few questions from the Shack News community, which you can join by heading over to shacknews.com/chatty or emailing us at, TJ, I'm going to use your email, tj.denzer@shacknews.com.
Fair enough.
Because you won that game. If I won, I would have. It's mine. Scanner Barkley said, I appreciate all the rage on display towards NPR this episode. Lol. That's right. I did go in on NPR a lot that episode. Yep. Anyway. Then the Haas Mamu corner, he said, horses and fishing are in Shack Bingo now? Question mark? Or just, I guess they are? Anyway.
I think it's a statement, yeah.
It's just a statement. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, horses should have been on there for a while.
Yeah, we established some horse stuff pretty early on.
Early on in this meta. Joe, I don't know if you remember the episode, but we did this cold open where I talked about how sweet the Jersey Turnpike was.
I certainly not offhand, but I could find it.
I can't find it to save the life of me because I think it would be a good vertical video. Anyway, just a complete non sequitur as we end here. That's going to do it for today's show. I actually hit the exact time that we were trying to get out of here, so I'm going to pat myself on the back.
Nice.
I'm going to reward myself by talking into a microphone for another 5 hours. But yeah, that's going to do it for today's show. Subscribe on your podcast app of choice and tune in every Friday for more Shack Together. TJ, thank you for joining us and talking about Indiana Jones and all the other games you've been playing.
Thank you for having me.
It's always nice to have you here in the Shack News Extended Podcast universe, or the SIPU, as the kids are calling it. And hey, it's episode 42, Joe. That's the answer to life, the universe, and everything.
Wow.
I don't know. Have you ever read The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
I haven't. I didn't want to ask because I know you have to go. but now I get the reference.
Yeah. It's a extended trilogy. There's 5 books. They're all from Douglas Adams. If you haven't read them, they're great.
Yes.
Yeah, that's going to do it. So thanks for listening or watching. If you made it this far into the podcast, you probably like what we're doing here. And thank you for that. But if you want to show a little bit more gratitude, you can go to your local podcast facility and vote for Shack Together. And let them know that we are the best video game podcast in the universe. And let them know that we should have won the Sexiest Podcast Host Award instead of Jason Kelsey.
We'll get him next year. Come on.
Yeah. Okay, fine. But next year, no Jason Kelsey. Anyway, thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks. We'll see you later. Never forget you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, TJ. Bye.
Shack Together is a Shack News production.
Shack Together is a Shack News production.
Shack Together is a Shack News production.
Shack News is a multimedia company consisting of a variety of entertainment properties, including ShackNews.com, video game and cutting-edge technology coverage with evergreen video, guide, and long-read content, providing readers and viewers with the latest reviews, previews, interviews, and news. Shack News content is readable and viewable at shacknews.com, Facebook, YouTube at Shack News Interviews, and Shack News VODs, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram at Shack News Media, Twitch, and more. But that's not all. You can play Bubbletron, our first video game. Combine 3 ideas, hit the market, and get your money hat. Bubbletron is a daily game in the style of Wordle, where players can launch a company and see its valuation instantly. Hit that high score and brag to your friends. Visit Bubbletron.com to play. There is no download required, no signups required, but if you are into app downloads, we have the cutest one on the planet. It's called Shack Pets, the ultimate battle for cuteness. Swipe your pets to victory on iOS and Android in this Tinder-like app for pets. Shack News is proud to present a variety of micro products, all available for free at shacknews.com. Cortex is a publishing platform available to all of our users. Shouts is a Twitter replacement in a time where Twitter really needs replacing. And Reader, an RSS reader that won't get shut down by Google anytime soon. You can import YouTube, subreddits, all sorts of cool stuff, even podcast feeds. And lastly, all of our products are completely free to use and play, so if you're a fan of what we're doing and want to support the Shack News ecosystem, head over to shacknews.com/Mercury. Mercury offers subscribers access to exclusive Shack News swag like hoodies and VIP access to our long reads in downloadable format. It's a great way to support us. There's different tiers, and you get a lightning bolt next to your name.